Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How would you like to make your first million? And today we have someone amazing with a great sense of humor, an entrepreneur with a lot of vibe that's going to share his story and his blueprint with you. So, Henry, can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Harry. Introduce myself. My name is Henry Woodman. You know, if I would say anything, I'm a hedonistic and opportunistic entrepreneur, meaning I really don't like doing a lot of things unless I enjoy it. And if I see an opportunity, I try to take advantage of it.
Wow, I love how we're starting this conversation. I love it. Yeah, I think we are heading in the right direction. So, Henry, tell us a little bit more how you become an entrepreneur.
You know, I don't know that I one day woke up and I went, oh my God, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. But like early on when I was 13 years old, I was a swimmer. I went to a swim meet in Mexico and I bought a switchblade. This is 1973. Okay. So I bought a switchblade. I brought it back on the plane and I'm showing off this switchblade in junior high and all the kids love it. So I then get a ticket to go back to Mexico, get on and come back with box full of small and large switchblades and I sell them. I buy them for $3 and $4, small and large. Then I sell them for 15 and 18.
Wow.
And as a 13-year-old delinquent, you know, that was pretty good. And, you know, then I had a business where I would do pet portraits, where I would take pictures of pets in the neighborhood. You know, eventually when I went to college, this is the hedonistic and opportunistic thing. I'm sitting in a laundromat in my college town of Tucson, Arizona. I have a pocket full of quarters waiting for the spin cycle. And I'm addicted to Pac-Man. So I'm thinking, man, these laundromats should have video game machines. I mean, this is the late 70s, right? So I go back to my dorm and I call every laundromat in Tucson. This was with the white pages, right? And of course, I called them up and I said, you guys have video game machines? Thinking I would go there just to play while I'm sitting there waiting for my clothes. And none of them did. So by the time I graduated college, I had video game machines in almost all of the laundromats in Tucson. That was my first kind of business. It was just because, you know, I'd buy cheapo machines that were outdated at auctions. Mm-hmm. I'd switch them in the laundromats every 2 weeks. So they'd go, finally, they got rid of that piece of junk and I got a real machine or something, right? And so then I moved to Los Angeles thinking I was going to produce and direct movies.
I love movies.
Yeah, me too. But, you know, that didn't happen. But we're going to get back to that because now I'm going full circle. So from there, I started working as what's called a PA, a production assistant on travel films because I like to travel and I liked film, right? So I ended up traveling the world for the better part of a decade, you know, from a PA to a sound guy to an assistant director to a director to producing the travel films. After a decade, I thought, man, I am so tired of traveling. I got to do something else. We did a travel film in Chile, Latin America. It went from a dictatorship to a democracy. New television networks were added, opportunity. I liked Latin women, hedonist. I moved to Chile with the production partner we had with the filming of the country, and we set up a game show. And I stayed there for about a year and produced a game show that became the #1 show in its demographics for Chile, a dating show for youth, right?
Wow. So somehow the TV film producer, it pay off big time, yeah?
It was paying well. I mean, listen, you can, and the problem was I was thinking at some point, I'll probably end up living in Chile. But, you know, you can make decent money in Latin America, but you're still living in a bit of paranoia because if you're making decent money, somebody wants it. You have to have a house with guards or you have to have barbed wire. I didn't at the time, but
from Cuba, so I know how it works.
Así es. Yeah. Bueno, tengo una esposa venezolana, but we'll get to that.
Wow.
So, you know, from producing game shows and deciding, you know what, I need to move back to the US. I was getting a little antsy to travel again. And I fell in love with this new technology called virtual reality. And I bought the world's second one-shot camera that would shoot the entire room
Oh,
in one
wow.
image. Yeah. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I set up a company
Probably
to
the
do,
most expensive, no?
yeah, at the time it was expensive. Yeah. Yeah. And when I was coming back from a trip shooting in Austria, I put it on an Air France plane and the whole thing was stolen and Air France didn't pay us.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Shit happens. I don't know if you want me to go on, but you asked the questions, Harry. I'm here for you.
I have used, like, for example, Henry, with what I heard, right? There is any entrepreneur in your family? Any uncle?
Yeah,
From whom you
I
get the
think
inspiration?
so.
From a book, from a neighbor, from an uncle? What happened doing? Because or you because were all the entrepreneurs that we interview, right? Obviously you had it within you. You have something inside that say, "Oh, I'm gonna do something amazing. But only you know it. Nobody knows, yeah."
Uh,
But you need that opportunity, that chance, that role model, that book, that. So where it came from? A TV show. So what gave you?
it probably came from my dad because he
Mm,
had his own business,
ah,
travel advertising, and he was an author, so he wrote books. And so, the fact that he had his office and he was also an executive at airlines at some point. So I don't know that it was the inspiration or the fact that I realized I didn't really want to work for somebody else.
mm,
And I think I was kind of naive, thinking, "Oh my God, I'm going to start it and they will come." Um, I just said, this is a problem. Like the video game. I'm addicted to video games. Somebody's got to put it in a laundromat. I got a pocket full of quarters burning a hole through my jeans, right? So the hedonistic part is it was something for me, and the opportunistic part is it doesn't exist, and I think I can help with people like me, right?
mm. So then, Henry, let's talk about opportunity, right? Because this is we have seen a lot of entrepreneurs, right? That that this is what they do, right? They put all the money, all the energy, all the talent, creating an amazing product, yeah. And after that, they have this Rolls Royce amazing product that is fantastic, yeah. Now they they want to go out and sell it, and now they have two problems. Number one, they already spent all the money and everything in the product. Number two, they don't know if this product is gonna sell, right? Now you're
Yeah,
coming from a different perspective. Since you introduced yourself, you said I'm an opportunist, right? So meaning that you're the person that will find the opportunity, meaning the marketplace first, and once you identify that market, you go and create and set the product. And this is way, way better to do things. Yeah.
I
So
agree.
how do you come to this realization? You come to this realization from since your first business as a kid, or it was an experience, or because boy, it took me well 15 years to achieve to this conclusion that you're sharing with me.
Right.
I did it like everybody else. I have several businesses, you name it, restaurant, real estate, is good. And every time it was like, oh, I'm gonna create this. Let me do it amazing. And oh my God, then I have it. Then you go out and sell it, and you find out that, oh, this is a huge problem. I need 10 times more
Yeah.
the money for marketing and sales. So how this system, how this way of thinking, yeah, opportunity first and then product and business second.
That's
Um,
a good That's
yeah.
a good question, Harry. I think you know how Steve Jobs says, you connect the dots, that at some point he took a calligraphy
Yeah, I
class and
love
it,
that phrase. I'm a big fan.
this is kind of the concept. It's not that I go out looking for opportunity. I think opportunity, if it presents itself, you realize, there's something here. Let me look into this. First of all, is it a problem? Are you solving a problem for you and others, if you will. Now, I'll give you an example. The company I recently sold, I left and I'm enamored with virtual tours, and I'm making these 360 digital tours, and I'm giving CD-ROMs to hotels and destinations.
Wow.
And they say, how do we put this stuff? This is the mid 90s now. How do we put this stuff on the new this new World Wide Web thingy? I'm like, I don't know, send them a CD-ROM. And they said, yeah, there are no standards. And I'm like, oh, well, let me see what I can do to help. So while I'm looking at this distribution of virtual tours on the new travel sites, I then realize they don't even have a good way of collecting pictures, because the early booking systems had the rate and was it available on the date? No pictures. So we decided, well, let me help you, but you know what? Let me help you with pictures too. So the opportunity was, this didn't exist, but there's new platform, the internet, with the ability to see and book a hotel, but there's no pictures. And if you remember the early days of the internet, when it said picture not available or something, you're like, okay, well, I'm not booking that, right? It's gotten far more than that. Now there are IP issues, there are categories, there are tags, there are different types of photos for different.
Reviews. Yeah, but back in the day, I mean, it's the fundamental of the online business.
Yeah.
If you don't have a photo, you have nothing. It's all about the photo.
So therein lies the rub. So, you could put a gun to my head, I couldn't write a line of code, but yet I had a global platform that said, you have pictures that want to go to a travel site in Africa or Latin America, anywhere on the planet, you would have to use our platform. It was a great concept that was fulfilling a problem that I saw an opportunity, and I hired people, right? Now, I was lucky because I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. I didn't have technology, but I wanted to do virtual tours and they wanted it distributed. And I'm like, right? So it's not like I went out looking for opportunity. I didn't plan on building a technology company, but it just so happened to have presented itself.
Yeah. And then, Harry, let's talk about this, because we see a lot of common in the tech companies, right? That again, that the founders they like to write the code, they're very good at computing, right? And they're brilliant at that they think that they design the best technology that's going to change the world, and then you have the patent, and then you have this and that, and it's amazing, right? But then the issue, right, is that the other second half, or the other part, which is identifying the opportunity and know how to create the product that serve this market, right? This is not part of the skill set, and that becomes huge issue in the tech company, because for you, for example, once you have the opportunity, you identify the opportunity, you identify the market, and now you, like you said, you can hire software developers, whatever, to do exactly what you want, because you know already that you're gonna sell it, because you already know that there is a market for it, and X, Y, and Z, right? So how was your building a tech company, the relationship with the software developers, with everybody? How difficult or how easy was for you to get across with your team, this is what I want to build, this is what I want, you guys just follow my lead, and then your software developer are like, oh, this guy doesn't even know how to write a line of code, and he's telling me what to do. So it was hard, it was easy, what happened?
First of all, nothing is easy, okay? And secondly, and I'm going to go back a little bit to what you said about, you write a line of code and you've got the greatest product and it can do everything but pick your nose. Yes, marketing and getting the people to know it exists is the biggest challenge for 99% of the businesses. And I don't care
100% with you.
If you have the best product. People, one, need to be convinced and move, or be convinced to do something like, oh, it'll save you time and money. Yeah. But are you going to be around in a year or two? These are big problems, right? In answer to the question, the team is so important, but I had No concept of that early on, with the exception of knowing I didn't write code and I needed to create something that could expand and handle large traffic. I mean, we had hundreds of thousands of images, millions really. We
Oh
had over
my
100,000.
God.
Yeah. So the reality was I got a group of programmers that recently left Microsoft and they set up their own company. And instead, I couldn't afford them, obviously. I said, I will give you a piece of the company in exchange for a 4-year deal. You own a part of the company. You give me cheap ass rates just to cover the overhead. And we worked it out and they built great technology.
Wow, amazing.
But as it turns out, 4 years went by. They went from the 3 guys that started the company, I was their first hire, to like 2,000 developers. I mean, they were good. Then I got relegated to a second-class citizen. And next thing you know, I wasn't getting the quality of coding and the speed with which it was delivered as I was used to. So I bought, then we were making a little money and I said, listen, I'm going to buy you out. So I gave them some money. I bought them out and I went to India, and that was a mistake because, your first marriage, you think, oh my God, it's great, but it didn't work out. Then you realize they were pretty damn good, right? So I moved the tech teams around. We hired local, but mostly offshore because of cost saving.
Yeah. And now, because now everybody see a lot of images and video in online and everything and now everything is easy. There is technology and there is even these huge tech giants that even have the service wide level, and then you can leverage all the infrastructure and everything to do your things.
Yeah.
But back in the day, you need to build it with the scratch, and you're talking about something which still is complex at the moment, because video keep increasing the quality and the server, the cloud computer, the space, the quality now. Even if you have a great quality video, if you don't have as fast internet, now the video is not with quality. So the whole thing continues going on in evolutions. But back in the day, it was really what we call it innovation. Yeah. I don't think that you were aware. I used to write code when I have hair back. I was 21, 23 years old, and I know that my first computer, my uncle traveled to Peru and bring it to me. Yeah, it was 386. Yeah, and we saw this machine when he brought it to Cuba, and we saw this machine, and this machine looks like gold to us. We want to do everything with that machine, yeah. And so the whole point is that you were actually creating or building something that it requires a lot of heavy tech and a lot of technical background, right? And then still you put it off. And like you said, nothing is easy, so you have to move the technology to another country because you can save costs, but now you find different challenges. Yeah, I know because all our IT team are from abroad, and it's they're very good. Yeah, they're amazing, 10 out of 10, but it's a different level of how you call it. Different way, different way that they work, and we just need to get used
And
to
to be clear, the technology, even though we had nodes around the world, I mean, was really based in the US on Amazon Web Services platform. But the code writing, because we were not required to be PCI compliant, we didn't take anybody's personal information. We just took a photo. We would take photos that had already been approved with their intellectual property rights from the groups like the Hiltons and the Wyndhams of the world, right? That way, the writing of the code in order to make the connections and connect to the various channels and updates and stuff, that was usually done by an IT team overseas. But the platform itself was it was in multiple places.
Big operation, yeah. So
Yeah.
so tell us, what was one of your biggest setback and how you overcome it?
Oh, wow. Big. Well, I think that the
You don't know which one is
biggest,
bigger, yeah?
yeah, right.
There's so many.
So early on, like many entrepreneurs, I believed we would be profitable sooner, right? I mean, I knew that we were going to have to take a step back in order to build the technology without seeing money. So there was capital infusion before we would recoup some of that money. It took obviously longer. So I ended up mortgaging, getting a second mortgage, a line of credit on, if you will, on my house. And a couple of times, I'm the last guy, the first guy in, the last guy out. And if there was money at all, the last guy to get paid. Some of my loyal people would even forego their checks sometimes when we didn't have money. So that's always a challenge. But I think the biggest challenges I ran into, we had one competitor, and the guy was incredibly litigious. So we
Oh
spent
my God.
lots of money and time in legal lawsuits. And there was a time where I was literally days away from bankruptcy. And I thought, you know what? My next line will be, do you want fries with that burger? I mean, I didn't know what else I was going to do. I had no money. I had my house mortgaged to the tilt, and I was over my head by over $1 million. And we finally got somebody, an angel investor came in and gave us a couple of bucks. I gave away a little bit of the company. We salvaged ourselves. 3 years later, he made 20 times his money.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what make you, Henry, to because sometimes when you developing the product, yeah, and at the end of the day, you're responsible for everything. You're responsible for the employees. You're responsible for the product. You're responsible for your idea. You're responsible, and now even you're responsible. That's how much you believe in that product. You took a second mortgage in the house, right? So how, because I feel it. I've been there. Like sometimes you said this is gonna work, it's gonna work, it's gonna work, yeah. And for me, sometimes works and sometimes hasn't. It's not always after I put all in, yeah. I have this brilliant idea, want to open a restaurant here in London, a Spanish restaurant. Look how clueless I was about marketing. I call it Harry Spanish Tapas. Yeah. Back in the day, I'm thinking, Harry, I should put this restaurant Lola or Pepe's. How come you're gonna put an English name to to Spanish restaurant? You crazy? So that's how naive, I was in this business. Avoid I get it wrong, right? So
Sure.
but still, okay. You managed to back up and come back. So when this angel investor give you that opportunity, when nobody believes in you, when the money is drawn, and then this angel investor come and said, "Hey, you know what? I got you." How do you feel, and how you react? Because I said that I know already what happened when you had to say, "Man, you give me this money, and nobody ever will took me down because I have
Right.
already all the mistakes already of everything planned, and I only need this lifeline." It's amazing when somebody give you that lifeline and believe in you when nobody has, right?
Well, yeah, and it's funny because he was also a client. So I was delivering photo. He was an
Wow.
extremely large um, tour operator organization.
Mhm.
So he knew that if somebody were to take me down, he would then be extorted to pay more from the competitor. So he had one interest. He didn't like the bully aspect of the litigious nature of our competitor. So that was something he goes, I don't like that. One. Two, I don't want to find myself in a position where there is a monopoly, because it really was a duopoly. And so he came in as a white knight.
Wow.
And I am grateful to this very day for that, because you're right. I mean, I didn't know where else I was going to go. I mean, I lost a lot of sleep, and at least I didn't lose my hair. Sorry, Harry.
So, but I think, Henry, that this tough moment build character, right? Make you stronger. So once you have the funds and once you have everything, you already know that what could happen if things go wrong. So you put yourself 100% in back in the business, and you will pay 10 more attention to detail, 10 more attention to the finance, 10 more attention to every little bit or after to make after the business to make sure that.
I'm going to say two things. One, it's kind of paradoxical when you look at the difference between drowning and swimming. And when you're drowning, you're flailing your arms around and you're mentally and physically exhausting yourself, and you're really not going anywhere except maybe down, right? Whereas, and I won't even call it swimming, I'll call it treading water. When you're treading water, you're using less energy mentally and physically, and you're much more relaxed. And I think that concept in a business too is really, really hard to attain. Is like, how do I get out of the day-to-day, minutia and panic, right? And learn to tread water and not sit there and go, I'm drowning. It's the end of the world, because it's not. I mean, in some cases it is, but if you can pivot as well. Now, I also coach small businesses, and I always tell them, I say, the way you might be able to find opportunity is to be standing on the corner of prepared and lucky. Because if you're prepared and you're not lucky, you may not see opportunity. If you're lucky and you're not prepared, you may not see opportunity.
Absolutely.
But if you're lucky and you're prepared, opportunity may be coming by. And that's the one important thing you have to understand. If you've built a decent product, if you've marketed, if you're prepared, and that means well documented, you have the structure, you're clear on the vision, the culture's with you, and you're lucky, because that's the biggest other part that people don't always take. Oh, I'm so smart. No, I'm not. I was just tenacious and lucky and prepared, right?
So then, but then Harry, let's face it, right? This process, yeah. Now you share it with us very easy and very relaxed, yeah. But I've been there and I know how it's looked like, right? And even starting the business, when exactly like you have now the first client, and then the first client doesn't pay you or pay you a little bit. Then you have a problem with the supplier. Then now the software company is not delivering and I have to change. And then now on top of that, I have a guy that likes law, and every 5 minutes is filing a lawsuit out of something, and again,
They want more money, they want benefits, but yeah.
Now I have an extra problem that nobody has, and you're asking yourself, why me? Why me? And this is all a negative baggage that it goes into your head, and it accumulates and accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. And if you don't deal with that properly, right, you won't be as successful as you are, because you will arrive to the office shouting and angry to everyone. I want everyone, because all these things collect. So how you find out that you have to canalize all this negative baggage, all this stress, all the thing, in order to arrive to the office, with the positive mind, with the positive mindset. I remember back in the day, we have a property business, we sold over 5 million, but it was some points, like 2-3 times, that I have maybe, like, we can say, like 170 tenants, and the staff and the team and everything. And sometimes, we have a lot of rooms empty, and it's holiday, and it's taking us time to rent it, and we have all the employees, and we have all the landlords to pay this. And there was some point that for a couple of days was $10 in the account. And I had to arrive to the office, say, hi, hello, everybody, everything good? Yeah, everything okay? And I'm thinking, oh my God, if these people knew that I only have to, obviously after 2 days, 3 days, the things will rent out, the money will come in, and everybody will get paid. But only me, I knew there was $10 in the account, that if a radiator breaks, if something happens, I don't know what I'm going to do, right? And for sure, in your same experience, again, all this process of building this company create these negative bugs that now they are storage in your head. So how you canalize that? Do you read a book? Do you walk? What you do? What you did to keep you calm? Because all the entrepreneurs listen to us, I think that They need to listen what you want to say about this, because this is a big part of the whole game and nobody talks about, right, Henry?
Right. So let's be clear. I wasn't always calm, and most of the time, yeah, yeah,
Neither me. Neither
yeah.
me.
Uh,
To be honest, we
there
have
were
to.
a,
Yeah.
there were a couple of things. One, um, I I'm very disciplined, and I would literally take every day and go do some working out. Usually on my lunch break, I would swim, and it would help me clear my mind. It would help me think, and it would help me come back to the office a bit
Brilliant.
energized. Two, I was really transparent. I would tell people we would go through all of the issues. We would go through the finances. We could go through the various KPIs, so people knew exactly what was going on. So I was very clear about that. And early on, you mentioned, was there a book? And the answer is yes. I read a book early on that somebody gave me called Traction by Gino Wickman. It got to the point where we were so enamored that our backdoor password to our tech platform was Gino Wickman, right? And at the end of the day, I gave it to every employee early on. I said, this is our Bible. And we lived for that. It would clarify, what does it mean when they say you need to have a vision, right? And then, you need to hire the best people. And I'm like, I can't even afford to pay myself. And you want me to buy the best people? What does that mean, right? And it really doesn't mean who you can afford. It's the culture. Then I was able to give people what's called phantom stock. And I said, listen, I think you're underpaid. I really like what you're doing. I can't afford what I think you're worth, but here's the goal and the vision, and I will give you a piece of the company when we sell it. And so many of the employees did well when we finally sold the company, because they believed in the vision, they believed in the culture. And so we were able to go through the ups and downs of any business. So, they rode along with me. I'm sure there were times where they thought, guy's nuts. I mean, come on, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and to me as well, yeah, I had to discover this, how to do this, because I when I was angry, every time that I was taking decisions angry, I lost money.
Yeah.
So I started to connect back the dots, and I say, okay, hold on, let me. There is something going on here. Yeah, I had to find a way how to deal with everything that not only me is accumulating to only me, but I cannot project it to the team or to the clients, into anybody, because number one, everything that happened, I was losing money, right? And where if I was calm and peaceful, right? The decisions were more clear, and now rather than losing money, I was making a lot of money with that decision, right? So I
Yeah.
learned in the hard way. But nobody teaches how to. I mean, you have very good habits, swimming. Yeah, I love it, because my girlfriend is a big fan of swimming. She love it, right?
Yeah.
And
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 cleans
and
your
I'll
mind,
add
right?
I'll add to that too. I would do morning meditation every day. I would walk the dogs.
Wow.
I would have a gratitude journal at night. So, living and traveling around the world, I realized, what, being a middle class American, if you live in the US, you are so lucky, right? You have a roof, you have food, you have transportation, you have security for the most part. So, man, the gratitude is overwhelming. So,
Mhm.
I know nobody can go in and go, listen, we're all passionate about our business. And it's very personal. And people say, oh, don't mix business and pleasure. It's your business. It is personal, right?
Yeah.
So the passion has to be there. It was just a matter of being dedicated and wash, rinse, repeat, plant a lot of seeds, and some of them will grow.
Mhm. Yeah, and you see, traveling the world. Imagine, I was born in Cuba. Tell me about it. So the traveling the world, now that I'm living in United Kingdom, here in London. I'm so lucky. I go to US, right? As well. I travel a lot there, and the after you travel the world, because we do travel a lot, we do conference around the world, how to help business to grow. And we have been in Peru, Mexico, Dubai, Singapore, uh, several countries, giving these talks, this conference, thousands of people. And uh, sometimes we take for granted how lucky we are, right? That we are in a country that at least, I walk on the street freely here. I mean, freely. I live in London. It's not like you can, but you know what I mean. Uh, it's a it's it's a different situations. Yesterday, I was with a friend and from Ecuador, and we were talking, and he was telling me, Harry, you don't believe over there, if you have a business now, probably somebody might come and ask you money, and you need to give the money. Otherwise they shoot you. I'm like, what? Yeah, yeah. If you have any any shop on the street selling anything, this is like a tax that you have to pay because otherwise, and you can disappear, right? So how long we are, and then again, we should be grateful for what we have, right? And if you can express that, also this negative baggage, Henry, that is the nature of the whole business. A lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs get depressed, or they get frustration, or they get angry, or they, some, and nobody realize that it's part of the process, right?
So, yeah, one of the things that I want to add too, because when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs that have done well, and then they say, oh my God, when I sell the business, I'm going to retire. And do what? If you are thinking of that, have some passion or purpose or something that you can do that occupies mentally your time. Because you're not going to be sitting there, I'm going to be on the golf course every day. No, you're not. I'm going to sit on a beach and relax. Yeah, for what, 2 weeks? And then what? You're bored. Entrepreneurs
Absolutely.
constantly want shit going on.
Tell me about it. That I was like, oh, I want to make my first million, I want to make a billion, and then the day that happened, after 3 days, I'm like, I was back in square one.
Yeah.
I'm like, it didn't last. I thought that it's gonna last 2 years. That oh my God, I did. It doesn't work like this. Even if you go to a holiday after 2-3 weeks, you're bored again. And the other thing, yeah, from my another taxi drivers, yeah, this is a very funny story. I was with I don't drive, so I take a lot of taxis, yeah. And the old man is driving the car, and he's talking to me, telling me, "No, Harry, I have a house in Spain, and very good and everything. And I make this money." So, and then I'm thinking, I said, "Man, look, why you don't go to Spain to your house and retire and live there? Why you come every day to drive this taxi? You don't have to. You have a house in Spain from holiday. You can retire." And you know what? The title me, Harry, listen, the last guy that retired from the taxi driver thing died after 3 months. You know, sitting at home, nothing to do. So the guy is like, I'm not retiring, baby. I'm drive this car, whatever it takes. I will go to Spain holiday 2-3 weeks or whatever. But I'm keep on because you have to. And when you're passionate about something, right? We can speak about business. We can spend 5 days here because I love. However, Henry, there is something that we notice, and we want to have your view on this, yeah, which is a different concept, which is a different currency, right? That sometimes we get paid. Let me give you an example. What sometimes I'm here in the metro in London, and the people find me in the metro and say, Harry, is you Harry, the purple guy? They know because I'm dressing purple, and they say, this is Harry. I see purple. I need to ask him. And the guy come to me and say, hey man, are you Harry? Yeah, yeah, I am. Man, I was in this conference 2018, 2019. I was on the second floor. I saw you. You say this. And then I did. And look, these are my children. Be my business. I'm making so helpful. Let's take a picture. And this is in the metro, in the place, in the middle of the public place, like in the subway, right? And then, yeah, take a picture. We talk a little bit. And then, but after that, I coming back. And I think that the feeling and the fulfillment that I have, that something that I did make a huge difference in someone's life, I think it gave me more fulfillment, more reward than actually the million in the bank account. Because when you change someone's life, or when you are a contribution to others, right? You get paid different type of currency.
Correct.
In love, it's in appreciation. And sometimes you start think a little bit philosophical, like, wow, at least this hard time that I have can help someone, like what we're doing today. Honestly, I'm so grateful that your time is very valuable, and you spending time with us and sharing all your information and your experiences. This is priceless for every entrepreneur out there, right? And so you have been so kind. So Henry, tell us a little bit more about this. How you feel when you make contribution to others, based in their hard work, and you can actually make a difference in someone's life.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, when I had the business, everybody was essentially part of the family, if you will, so, what monies we made, one, they got a paycheck. Two, when we got bigger, in addition to the phantom stock, which is the long view, we did a profit share. I said, listen, you clearly know what we're making. So every quarter, we're going to take 20% of the profits and we're going to share it with the employees based on tenure, position. There's a get it, want it scale. So they would get a little bit of extra money every quarter if we made money. That way, it's not just about salesmen. It's about everybody rowing the boat in the same direction and understanding what the value is. And the value is we all raise the monies and economize the scales, and we all make a little bit of money. And that was kind of the idea. I still talk to many of my employees today.
Yeah, and it makes a huge difference in their life, right? Because you were the owner. If you wanted, you can easily say, you know what, I'm going to become incredibly rich, and I'm gonna keep everything for myself. After I said it, you decided to share it with them, to make a difference in their life,
well, they have to
together. And if we go out and we win in this, it's no Henry only winning.
We all win.
We're all gonna win big time here.
And, that's right.
And it's like we told you, it's part of you making a difference in their life. Because let's face it, they were working somewhere else, they're not gonna have that. We get a salary and that's the end of it. Yeah. And still they need to work hard, and still they have to do everything. I mean, you did it because you wanted.
Because it was,
to be happy. Yeah.
One, it was the right thing to do.
Exactly.
And two, because one of the things that you want to maintain is continuity with the culture and the employees. So if the employees think, you know what, it's not always about money, it's about, do I enjoy what I'm doing? Do I feel like I'm part of something bigger? And if the answer is yes, then you're going to retain them and they enjoy the people they're working with. If they also see an opportunity at the end or continual opportunities, they will stay. I mean, I know many of my employees weren't making what they could have, but they all clearly knew it wasn't always about the money. If I make $85,000 here and somebody else can pay me 90, am I going to leave? Why? Because many of them who have turned around and go, yeah, they're miserable. The culture was horrible and they were unhappy. So, being content with where you are is also really important.
And then, Henry, a question that I ask a lot of entrepreneurs, right? And they come back to me and they tell me, Harry, if I knew, man, but I didn't know. It's about culture, right? Some of them, I would tell them, if you have to do all over again, what would be that thing that you actually will embrace and we do it again? And a large part of the answers, there's always culture. They're telling me, Harry, if I knew that culture was so important when I was starting and when I was building it, and if I knew that everything that I know now, right? They were telling me I will be 5 times, I will grow 5 times faster. But because let's face it, not all of us pay attention to culture until we get big. And we don't even know what culture is, because when I had that in my business, I even didn't know what that means. You know what I mean? But it's really important. So how, Henry, you find out about this culture thing, how you created thing? Did you saw this when you were working in around the world, traveling? You saw, so where do you learn about these culture things?
I really learned about it by, I would read things and I was like, yeah, what does that mean? I have no idea. Best people, what is culture? I didn't have a clue. But when somebody gave me the book Traction by Gino Wickman, and it clearly spelled out, I mean, at the end of the day, let's be clear, you have a, a few employees in the company. If they don't know exactly why you're there, the vision, what their role is, here's my position, here's my KPIs. We're all trying to go in this direction, right? If they think, oh, I thought we were trying to accomplish that. And then, the other challenge, and this is a little of an offshoot, when you start a small business, you're a whore for nickels. Anybody who's got a nickel, I'll take it, I need it, I'll do whatever you need because I need the money.
Absolutely.
There gets a point in the business where you have to learn to say no. It's not early, but it's somewhere later where you go, you know what, I think I can be the best at this, and I'm going to start saying no to that because it's taking me away from being better at this and focusing my attention. The same thing with the culture. The culture is something, we had daily meetings and we would get together and tell people, here's what we did yesterday, here's what we're going to do today. And tell me one thing that you noticed with you or somebody else in the company that matched our culture. I can say, Harry was really great because our honesty thing, he was talking to a client, he was clear and concise and told them honestly okay, so now I know, I remember honesty is one of our core values. Okay, got it. We would repeat this every week. It wasn't a platitude with, plaque on the wall. So people would say, this is what I live. This is what I saw Harry live. This is what we do. This is who we are. And that helps us all understand where we are going together.
That's fantastic. Henry, the question that everybody's waiting the answer. What are the 5 steps to make the first million?
To make how much? 1 million?
Yes.
Yeah. Surprisingly, it's fairly easy to make $1 million. It's the matter of growing past that. But let me first tell you what's going on before I tell you the steps, because I mentioned earlier that when I sold the company, I wanted to do something else that had a passion. 40 years ago, I read a book and I fell in love and I bought the rights. I thought I was going to produce and direct movies. That didn't happen. So I ended up 40 years later, just published the book a couple of weeks ago and developing it into a TV series. So conceptually, I'm going to go back and, pun intended, closing the chapter on that part of my life and opening up a new era where I have something that I feel passionate. And, it's not that developing a series for TV is going to make a huge amount of money because, I'm not, or book publishing, but it is a passion project that I can afford time and effort to do that now. Thank you for allowing that.
Yeah. So then, Harry, we own a book publishing company, so we can help you a lot in that. All this book that you see behind me, we publish this, and we also passionate about movies. Yeah, and being occasional actor like 3 times. Yeah, one of our authors that work with us, she's a film producer, and she's every time telling us, Harry, come, Lily, come, I'm doing a movie, come. What we're gonna do, don't worry, you sit there, and we give you a role, or we give you something to do, don't worry, so you will be in the movies. And we're
it's not a great arena or an area where you're going to make a lot of money.
No. I mean, we're doing this for fun,
it's a passion. It's a passion.
To here in UK, it's not like in US. They're over there. Here, for example, when they do period movies, right? They don't build the studios; they do it on the street because they in UK the thing is, so sometimes we end up in Bath in the middle of, well, I don't know what say middle of nowhere, but but far from London, and we are shooting on the street, literally on the street. There is no in the main road because the architecture is period and it's a lot of fun. But the whole point is, right, that you can you can always follow your passion, you can always reinvent yourself, yeah, and you can always come back in a different way, Henry, right?
I was going to say, if I followed my passion then, I'd probably be, asking you if you want fries with that burger. The only reason I can do that now is because I was 20, more than 20 years building and then selling this company. So that was fortuitous for me.
Mhm.
But the passion is, well, the name of the book is The Reincarnation of Marie. And it
Wow.
is a paranormal, yeah, it's a if you like, paranormal love story, historical fiction, it's a sci-fi type idea, but the concept is I was in tears when I first read it 40 years ago, and I thought, you know what, this
Wow.
is, yeah. So I held on to it thinking I was going to, actually, I gave it to a producer friend, and he was in the middle of a movie, and 3 days later, he goes, this is amazing. We've got to do this. His life went off one way, mine went another way. I said, one of these days, when I sell my tech company, we're going to do this. So now the goal is to develop
Wow. And I
the
think you're
real.
up to something. I think I don't know if you heard about one movie, Paranormal Activity. It's one
Oh,
of the
it's a big deal now. Yeah. Yeah.
it's one of the most profitable things that haven't happened in the history of movies. You know,
I
it's
mean,
a
we all
movie
ask the
that costs
question.
it's a movie that costs very little and makes so much money
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
don't know enough about the movie, but I know about the
But
huge success
it's
that they did with that one, right?
it's an omnipresent question that we have is why are we here? Is this all there is? Do soulmates exist? Is there such a thing as a
Again,
time travel or
Henry, we're coming
metaverse?
back to the same thing.
Yeah,
Opportunity.
yeah, yeah.
Nobody's talking about it, and everybody's
Well,
is
they're talking about it. We're developing. The reincarnation of Maria is based on an actual woman in the 1800s who wrote a best-selling book,
wow.
and she was hugely popular. And so she gets reincarnated, and that's kind of the basis behind it. What we do with the TV series is it's a far deeper dive into who people in our current life and where or were we somehow connected in a prior life,
Wow.
those sins of the father or karma. Is any of that true? I mean, do we pay back karma, or are we paying for things that we did wrong or did right in the past? These are questions that are left sort of open.
Okay, Henry, so tell us what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
Okay. So the first thing is find an opportunity or solve a problem, right? You can't just say, listen, I'm going to have a boutique that's going to be better than, is that a problem? Do we need that? I mean, nothing against people who want to do a boutique.
Oh,
Yeah. Two, make sure that you understand how you're going to market that product or service, right? Opportunity, product, service. Clearly identify the vision with you. If you don't have a team, here's exactly where I think I can go. And don't be shy to change it every year. Things change. You can pivot. We all have that, oh my God, I'm going to be this. And then you go, you know what? More people want this. So you can pivot. And then ensure that you have the culture that can come along and build. It's all about discipline, right? So culture and discipline, make sure you are clearly knowing where you're going to go and everybody has their role. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to row the boat so that we get there. And lastly, have fun. The hardest thing to do when you're so serious, because you run into times where I have no money and what am I going to do? Oh, the world is ending. I'm drowning. Try to put things into perspective. What's the worst thing that can happen? I mean, I end up, I still have food. I still have people who love me. I still have security.
Oh, and then I find out that, like, for example, I have a dream that I want to have a restaurant. I want to have my own restaurant. I don't know. Somehow I have that dream. Yeah. And after I have the restaurant for 2 years, boy, this is now I'm sure what I don't want.
Yeah.
So sometimes, yeah, you might have a dream, an idea, something to fulfill. But then when you dive into it, maybe it's not your thing. And then I realized I was not happy. I'm
Yeah.
like going there, same thing, working Monday to Sunday, no time off. I'm like, Do I want
And
this
direct
in my life?
and direct to consumer. That's a tough way to go.
Oof. Tell me about it. So big, so you learn what you want, what you don't want. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for people that owns restaurant. I have more respect for people that owns restaurant and make money. I'm telling them. Then I say, man, are you making money with this thing? And they say, yes, I'm making profit in the restaurant. And I'm like, why are you doing restaurant then, man? Because it's so the level of a skill set that you have to make the thing works and make money. You shouldn't be doing this. You do something that you make more. But I get the passion about the food, the passion about what they do, and that's what they say there. Yeah. So okay, Henry, last message for all the entrepreneurs that they are listening to us, that they are stuck. They are in these dark places now, that nothing is working for them, that they believe in what they have, but things are not working, and that it's money is drying out, and he's the last person to pay. But sometimes you are very close to the solution that we make the whole thing, like like this, and probably your best investor is your client. We have a tech company, that some of the clients were thinking to invest, right? Because they already experienced the product, and so maybe this is a good way that the entrepreneurs should look at and if they're looking for funding. But anyway, Henry, what is the last message that you have for these entrepreneurs out there that at the moment is having hard time?
I think the greatest message would be, it does not happen overnight. You have to be patient. Wash, rinse, repeat. Do it again. Wash, rinse, repeat. Do it again. Plant a lot of seeds and be very aware. And if you're prepared and lucky, as I mentioned before, then those seeds will start to reap and grow fruit. And eventually you'll be able to get there. But it is not something like, I have this great idea, I'm going to build it and they're going to come. Just keep being disciplined, set the standards, get the culture and the vision, and watch it grow, but be patient.
And with these words on Henry, be prepared so when the opportunity comes, you're ready for it. Yeah, I remember here at Henry, the Les Brown came want to speak in London, right? And the promoter of the event told me, Harry, I want that you speak before Les, because you are so powerful, and I need, Harry, that you lift this audience up, so when Les Brown come, the whole room is set, right? And I was thinking, I'm like, wow, there were speakers there that worth over 400 million. There were people there, like, they were huge, way bigger than me. And I'm thinking, why they choose me to do this, to put me in this spot right before. Then I asked the lady years back, and I asked her, the organizer, her name is Atia. I said, Atia, why did you choose this spot for me? And she told me, Harry, you were ready. You were prepared. And I knew that you were ready. And I knew it was like 1,300 people there in the Westminster Central London. It was a big gig. All the city was there. And she couldn't take the risk to put someone there that could be, I don't know, maybe more wealthy or whatever, but is not prepared to deal with this kind of audience, this kind of crowd. So I got lucky, yeah. And it was amazing. So I agree 100% with you. If you're prepared, the opportunity will come, but only if you're prepared, because who give you the opportunity? When you ask back in the day, why you gave me this opportunity, the answer is going to give you is because you were prepared and I knew it. You know what I mean? So,
lucky. Got it.
So thank you so much, Henry. And for, honestly, thank you so much for your time. Yeah, I talk too long. I talk too much. Yeah, I shouldn't do that. Yeah. This podcast should be 45 minutes, but it never is like this. I love to talk about business, and you have very good energy. I wish you more wealth, more happiness. Keep swimming, keep calm. Definitely send us the TV series. Yeah, Amazon will take it, or Netflix.
We've already got some
sooner or
interest.
later. Absolutely. So we will distribute it and we'll be there somehow. Yeah. So keep following your passion. I wish you the best. And for all of you listening this podcast, Unstoppable, see you in our next episode. How brave entrepreneurs like Henry break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Bye. Thanks, Harry.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.